What's going on, guys? It's James back in the Edge Finder, and today we are going to be taking a look at our top buy and top sell here in the Edge Finder. And I was looking at the score chart summary and I noticed something. We have NZD JPY and NZD CHF as our two top buys of the day, tied with scores of +5. I can also see NZD CAD right here with a score of +4. So looking like the New Zealand dollar has got some real strength to it. And that really becomes obvious when we go down here to our strong sells and we see Euro NZD, GBP NZD, and Aussie NZD. So all of our New Zealand dollar crosses are either our top buys or our biggest sells. So New Zealand dollar is holding a lot of weight at the moment. It is really a bullish currency at the moment, because when we're crossing it this way, we're buying, and when we're flipping it, we are selling. So NZD holding a lot of weight. So I guess we're going to be looking at some NZD pairs today. Hope that's okay. We're going to start with NZD JPY or NZD CHF. You know what? We can go ahead and look at both of these, just because I'll skip over the New Zealand dollar side once we've already looked at it, and we'll look at AUD NZD because it's our strongest sell with a score of -9. So let's start with NZD JPY. We'll move to NZD CHF, and we'll also do Aussie NZD. So you're getting a three-peat today.
Listen up, traders. We're rolling out our free technical analysis playbook featuring 5 theoretical plays to incorporate in your trading. Read up on head and shoulder patterns, retests on a support level, fib-based setups, breakouts, and flag patterns. Click the link down in the description below to get access to the playbook for free.
But again, like I mentioned, once we go over this NZD stuff one time, we'll just focus on the other currencies involved. All right, so here we are. NZD JPY tied for our top buy with a score of +5. And we can see here COT data sitting at a score of +1. So let's go ahead and take a look at that here. New Zealand dollar is 42.52% long and 57.48% short, while the yen sits at 24.86% long and 75.14% short. So overall, it looks like both pairs are actually favored on the short side at the moment. However, the yen is really heavily favored on the short side, while the New Zealand dollar is sitting a little closer to 50-50. Retail traders, however, are favoring this on the short side as well, 61% short as a whole. Seasonality, we can see here that in the month of November, when we're taking a look at this kind of zero neutral line here, historically speaking, in the last 5 years, as well as the all-time average, we are sitting above that line, and that is consistent with our current year average as well. So we expect that to stay the same moving into December. Our trend rating is a +2 score, and we can see that pretty much ever since November 11th, we've been seeing some upward momentum, really maybe since November 14th, some stronger upward momentum here, and we expect that to follow that upward momentum here in that daily, or in that price forecast here. Our GDP growth sits at a score of +1, inflation and unemployment scores of -1, and interest rates +1 again. So in our fundamentals section here, we can see New Zealand dollar GDP growth 1.7% compared to Japan GDP growth -0.3%. Unemployment for New Zealand 3.3% compared to Japan's 2.6%. Inflation is 7.2% in New Zealand compared to only 3.7% in Japan. And lastly, interest rates 3.5% for New Zealand and -0.1% in Japan. So not a strong buy at the moment, but a buy score nonetheless for the NZD JPY pair. Now we're going to take a look at NZD CHF. And like I've already mentioned, we're going to skip over these New Zealand dollar numbers since we just looked at them. They're all going to be the same. We're just going to focus on the Swiss franc and kind of compare those numbers to the numbers that we've already looked at. And this is looking pretty much the exact same as the one that we were just looking at. So again, score of +5, COT data and retail sentiment, both scores of +1. Take a look at those here. Swiss franc even more heavily shorted, favored short than the yen at 81.9% short. And the retail sentiment is actually the exact same. Retail traders favoring this 61% short as a whole. Seasonality, also a score of +1. We can see here in the month of November that in October, November, and December, our all-time and last 5-year average having it sitting above this 0 line. So we expect that to stay the same moving into December, although it is a lot closer to that 0 line there. And then GDP growth, inflation, unemployment, and interest rates have the same scores, 1, -1, and 1 again. So again, just looking at the Swiss franc, we have 0.3 GDP growth, we have 1.9% unemployment, we have 3% inflation, and 0.5% interest rates. I should also mention here that with our trend reading, we can see that pretty much ever since November 15th, so for the past couple of days, we've seen nothing but upward momentum. And we saw a little bit of that here too, from November 3rd to November 9th, a little bit of upward momentum, shot back down just a little bit, and we are moving our way back up again. So if we were looking at the full chart, if we were looking at a full daily chart, going back a couple months, we can maybe see where it begins to retest and consolidate a little and see if we're going to potentially break out of that consolidation. But here in our little daily chart, we can just look at a little bit of upward momentum here and a little bit of upward momentum here. So our Aussie NZD was our top sell with a score of -9. So we're going to look at that one as well. Aussie NZD, score of -9, the strongest sell score that you can get in the Edge Finder. Everything is in the red here, all scores of -1, other than our trend reading, which is a score of -2. So let's just go ahead and get into the numbers. Under our sentiment section, we have the Australian dollar sitting at 70.61% short. So again, very heavily favored on the short side. But look at this. This is interesting. Our retail sentiment is 96% long from the retail traders. So they are buying this at its lowest, expecting this to move higher at some point. Could be a few weeks, could be a few months, but at some point this pair should rally, turn back around, and start moving towards the upside. So they are buying while this is low, it seems like. Our seasonality is a score of -1, and we can see that in the month of November, our all-time and last 5-year average are sitting below that neutral line, and that is definitely staying consistent with our current year average. We can see that here as well. It looks like in the last 5-year in October, it's maybe right on that line, whereas all-time it's a little below, and that was the same for the current year. And we expect it to stay below that line and potentially even drop even lower moving into December. Trend reading is a score of -2, and we can see that ever since November 1st, pretty much nothing but downward momentum, especially in the last couple of days since November 15th. Look how far that has shot down there. And that today, November 18th, compared to the 1st, that is a pretty strong downward move right there. Okay, and lastly, GDP growth, inflation, unemployment, and interest rates all have scores of -1, and we can take a look at these numbers one more time over here. So Australian dollar, 0.9% GDP growth. Australia sits at 7.3% inflation, 3.4% unemployment, and 2.85% interest rates. So the New Zealand dollar is beating out the Australian dollar in all 4 of those metrics. Okay, so that was a quick look at our 2 top buys as well as our biggest sell here in the Edge Finder. Again, all New Zealand dollar pairs, but apparently that's just what the market has in store for us at the moment, is New Zealand dollar bullishness. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. I want to remind you really quickly before I completely wrap it up that we are doing our Black Friday sale. So we are doing 40% off the Edge Finder. Taking a look at this tool. If you found this information useful and you want to get the Edge Finder for yourself, you can get it for 40% off our biggest sale of the year when you use code A1YT at checkout. There are links down in the description to go check out the Edge Finder for yourself. Again, code A1YT for 40% off our biggest sale of the year. So yeah, if you found this video entertaining and useful, go check out the Edge Finder for yourself with code A1YT, 40% off Black Friday sale.
Make sure you guys check out the links in the description if you need broker recommendations, access to our free Discord, or want to chat with us on Telegram. If you're interested in our trading software, the Edge Finder, you can find that in the description as well. Thanks for watching.